I always wanted to have children. The only thing that I always knew, even though I was gay, that I wanted to have a family.
I'm a fertility doctor, and before I knew I was going to be a fertility doctor, I always knew I was going to have a family before I even came out to myself. And I always thought of having 2 biological children, maybe with a wife or something. I don't know. I'm talking about like when I said late teens. I remember that and thinking that I would adopt my 3rd child, you know. And then you fast forward, I'm married, same-sex couple. I basically went the route of donor egg and surrogacy. And when I did that, I had never done that for someone else like myself. I done it to hundreds or thousands of heterosexual couples and single women and lesbian couples, but never to a single male or female couples. So from every angle, it was a very first-time story for me. You know, I've delivered hundreds of babies, and when our surrogate went to deliver, the hospital had just opened. We were the first surrogacy case they've had, and the first male-male couple they've had. It's a major hospital here in Dallas. And so everyone and their mom wanted to come. There were 25 people in the labor and delivery room. Our surrogate was 35 weeks pregnant. And all along I'd been very methodical. And Peter wasn't. Peter was a normal person going through having a child. I still was like almost in doctor mode. This is all happening is very systematic. When the kids came out and I turned around and I looked at my surrogate in the eye, looked at Molly. It's like you flip something, and I went from being a physician to completely being a dad, and I started bawling. It was that moment. I was like, oh my God, this is real. This is happening. It was very surreal.
We have 2 children, yeah, Paloma Sofia and Valentino David. They're almost 6 years old.
We also decided to raise the kids into 3 languages. I'm Colombian by birth, and Peter is Dutch. And we always spoke English, and then we decided when we had children to speak our native tongues, and so at home we speak the 3 languages.
¿Quieren hacer? ¿Dónde quieren ir? ¿Quieren ir por allá? ¿Quieres ir allá? ¿Al acuario?
Most of the challenges are going to be where I think social challenges. I mean, and those were the same. It had made no difference whether I was a fertility doctor or not. But still, I had to get an egg donor and find an egg donor and pay for an egg donor and gestational care just like everyone else. But the challenges were more social. We didn't really know any family like ours in Texas. We had no family support. So I think the first challenge I faced was work. And I knew that my workplace, they had never had a gay couple before, and I was told I could do it, but it was only going to be me. And then I was asked to partner into a practice eventually, but I just couldn't treat people like me. And then when I brought the kids with my husband to introduce them to the entire staff, everyone was very happy to meet them. I was told that we needed to go on the radio and find a nanny because men couldn't take care of children. I left my job and set my own path.
I said to Julian, you focus on your job, and I want to be a full-time parent for the first 5 years. So we have managed that. And so also, I wasn't ever raised with a nanny, so I just wanted to do everything by myself.
There was a big change for us. We never had a night nurse, a family. No one came to help us, and it was great. So we don't really remember much from the first couple of years, to be honest.
I don't even remember anymore when they were babies. I was scrolling on my phone, I saw these baby pictures, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't remember anything. It was like the first 6 months, it's so busy, you have no clue what's going on. The mama always says like, the days are long, but the years are short, and that's actually what really is completely true.
You go from being very self-absorbed, you know? Other person receives a lot of your attention, right? You're in this partnership, and all of a sudden kids come into the world, and you definitely don't have time for yourself or for each other. And so there's a lot of neglect in there also. But then you have to kind of work through it, but in the end you're building this family. And so in that way, then your relationship's obviously so much stronger. I mean, we're tied forever. What is getting married at the end of the day? What is a paper? What is a party? But when you have children, and the fact that we discovered not just fatherhood together, it just solidifies a very strong, I think, bond between the 2 of you.
One heartfelt thing that occurred in our situation was that we're Catholic, so we go to church.
Building your family, you start thinking about what's important. Obviously, church is not just religion, it's your culture, you know, and and it's a community, and you feel that that's part of you. And so, of course, we made a bigger effort to go to church.
It was very scary to enter the Mass for the first time with two babies, as two guys, you know. And I think one of the most emotional things for me and Julian was that after the Mass, maybe 3/4 of the people who attended the Mass came up to us and shook our hands and congratulated us. They said that they were very proud of us. We felt like coming in a warm bath, expecting a cold shower, you know. So that was actually a very touching moment for us.
Because we had twins, we wanted to then be part of a lot of things, but we were a bit overwhelmed, to be honest, for the first few years. And so it was very difficult to leave the house. But even if it was peripherally, just Rainbow Roundup and going to Pride.
And it's really nice that you see other families like yours, and that, you know, you become like your own family within like the gay community. And for me, that's very special to see, and also to see that the kids are growing up, they play with each other, and it's wonderful just to be a part of that particular group.
I'm in a very special situation where I help people become parents all the time, and I've had the luxury of helping a lot of LGBT people in our community to build their families. The transition I'm seeing now is male couples and trying to build their family. Overall, what I can say is, for me, there's a lot of things in my life, but I think what really delineates my life is before kids and after kids. I cannot imagine not being a dad, and my advice is, like, if you feel that you may want that, I think you will never regret it. I do think for men can be more challenging. If they want to have biological children, it's much more difficult and expensive than for a woman to do that. But there's also adoption.
Always strive to what you think is the best way for you as an individual and for you as a couple. You have to ask yourself regarding if you're gay or straight or bisexual or transgender, single or being in a committed relationship, what works for you guys the best.
There's nothing that's gonna be super easy, but I think it's 1,000% worth the fight. I think people buy expensive houses and cars and do a lot of things, but you probably get nothing more out of that effort, or that money is probably much better spent in building your family than any of those material things. And parents can complain all the time, you know, lack of sleep, this and that, but I think at the end of the day, if people fall in love with a dog or a cat, imagine when it's your own child, you know? It's just something else. And now the community can get married. You see more couples and more societal support and more accepted in the community. I do think that it's gonna become more common. And it's very nice now how young kids don't go through the things that I went through, you know, in my brain, you know. They don't have to think, is this something I could ever do or not? I mean, they already know they can. So if it's something that you're considering, I think you should definitely try to go for it.